Hello everyone, my name is Saxon Novak. I am a product specialist here at Control Solutions. Today we're going to be going over installation process for our VFC311 device. This installation process will cover the VFC Wi-Fi line as a whole, whether it's a 350, a 311, a 300, a 200, or a 500, the process is the same. And now I would like to go over the contents that you will receive in your VFC311 kit. And this kit does include everything you need to install this data logger on your fridge or your freezer. The first thing we're going to receive is going to be actually our VFC311 device. So this is our 311 data logger here. We have our 311 smart probe. We will make sure, and you'll have a calibration certificate that is in the box with the rest of the kit. Each device will come with its own certificate of calibration. We have our glycol bottle stand. This stand will be used to hold your temperature glycol buffer bottle vertically in your fridge. This should always be used. Next, we have the AC power adapter. So every device includes a power supply kit. We have a 10-foot micro USB cable, and we have our AC to USB power adapter. Every kit includes a wall mount bracket for your device. These wall mount brackets do include keyholes for screws if you want to mount them to the wall. However, we also do include adhesive, so you can stick this on the side of your fridge or freezer or wall, or on the surface of whatever you would like to mount. That way your logger is in view while it's logging and recording. So next we have the glycol bottle installation kit. This kit comes with everything you need to actually tie down and fully install the device. So our first thing we have is the glycol bottle itself. We have our zip ties to tie the cables down using the included adhesive cable anchors. We have our adhesive squares. These are what is used to mount the wall mount bracket to the side of the fridge or freezer. We do include a zip tie loop. This is used to secure the probe to the bottle. We include a probe buffer bottle seal. The probe will be inserted through this, and when used in conjunction with this lid, it will be a complete seal, so your bottle cannot leak even if tipped over. We have our adhesive cable anchors. These will be used to tie the cables down to the refrigerator or freezer, so there's no loose points, no mess, or snaggable areas for staff when entering and exiting the fridge. And lastly, we include a second USB cable with every kit. This cable is extremely important because we do include the longer 10-foot cable. However, this cable is power only and only to be used for charging. This is your setup cable. So this is the one we're only going to use to configure the device within the software onto the cloud platform. So this is all the equipment needed to install your VFC311. All right, so the first step of any data logger installation is going to be installing the probe buffer bottles into your fridge or freezer. This allows the bottle to climatize to the temperature of your fridge or freezer, minimizing any false alarms or additional time needing to wait because this bottle is still coming down to temperature of the fridge from room temperature. Next, we're going to install this into the center of the fridge or freezer. So now that we've got our glycol probe buffer installed into our refrigerator, we'll move on to the next step, which is actually placing the logger. We're going to be placing the logger using its included wall mount and adhesive on a position on the fridge or freezer that will be convenient to read the logger, use, but will not be in the way. So I'm going to select a safe position for myself here, and I'm going to place my logger. A tip for everyone, use an alcohol prep pad on the surface prior to sticking your logger down, and it will ensure the logger stays much more secure for much longer. Now that we have our logger placed on our fridge or freezer where we would like it, we're going to move to installing the smart probe sensor cable. It's important to have located your probe pass-through port. We have one right here on the side of our Artico fridge. This pass-through port on many lab or medical grade fridges and freezers will allow you to pass your probe cable into the interior cabinet of your fridge or freezer. We're going to utilize this probe pass-through port to keep our logger on the outside of the unit while still being able to monitor the temperatures of the inside of the unit. So now we're going to connect our probe to the data logger, clip it into its stand, bottom first, and then now we're going to fish the cable through our pass-through into the interior of our refrigerator. So now that we've fished our probe through the side, we'll continue the process inside of our refrigerator. I'm going to start by taking the cap off my glycol bottle. I'm going to dip my probe into the bottle. This will aid in us in assisting the seal. We're going to fish our probe underneath the fridge racking here. And we will run the probe cable underneath the center of our rack. And I simply pull it through. Any excess cable for the probe, I coil neatly around the bottle. And now we are ready to install our bottle seal and cap on the probe assembly. To do that, we are going to install the cap over the probe, followed by the probe seal. And it's important to have the point of the seal pointing up towards the cable portion of the probe. And now we have our assembled probe and seal cap. I'm going to remove the solid cap off of our glycol buffer bottle. I'm going to take our probe, cap, and seal assembly, and I'm going to insert it into our bottle. And we're simply going to screw this down. Continuing our installation, we've installed the device, the probe is in the buffer bottle. Next is going to be anchoring down our probe and our power cables. As mentioned earlier, we do include an adhesive cable anchor and cable ties. These work, they have slots, you can insert the zip tie in either direction. And then whatever you want to tie down cable-wise, you simply wrap them around and affix your zip tie, and that will give you a good secure mount. So now that we have installed our cable anchors here on the refrigerator, these will be used to tie down both our power cable and our probe cable to keep it neat, tidy, and tucked away, so they're not being snagged by staff as they enter in our refrigerator. So we're going to connect our micro USB connector to the bottom of our data logger. We're going to clip back in our logger. We will then connect our USB side of the power connector, and we will run this cable around the back of our unit to the outlet. Once we're done, we will affix all of these cables so they're neat and tidy. So what we have here is I have the cables all ran, and you'll notice that I have some extended loops that allows you to loosely run your cables around the back of your unit to the power strip or your probe in while maintaining all the positions. Once everything is to your liking, you can simply tie down all of your cables by simply pulling on the cable ties. And once you have your neat installation, you simply clip off the excess zip tie. So by following the steps outlined previously, you should end up with a fully installed logger, power, and probe using only what was provided in your vaccine thermometer kit.